Have you ever had anybody call you codependent? Or maybe in a heated argument, somebody accused you of being absolutely neurotic? Have you been called emotionally unavailable by a partner or maybe a boyfriend or girlfriend? Perhaps somebody has told you that you're just not being vulnerable, or you don't know what vulnerability is, or you need to work on your vulnerability. And then finally, maybe you've labeled yourself or you know some other people who could be a highly sensitive person. Do any of those apply to you or people that you know? Hey, I'm Nicole Kaufman. I am the Right Therapist, a division of the Conservative Take. And today I am going to nerd out just a little bit and talk about a brand new personality test that has come on the market that I want you to take so that you can determine if you are indeed neurotic, if you or somebody you know is a highly sensitive person, or the idea of codependence. And dirty little secret, just kind of spoiler alert here for you, the idea of codependence, it actually is just an idea. It's not a diagnosis, it's not a symptom, it doesn't actually even exist. So on that note, let's get right to it. So a few weeks ago, I went to see Dr. Jordan Peterson in person. He was here in North Carolina on his world tour, and I got to see him. I'm a big fan, so you'll see this picture of us here together. Could I smile any bigger in this picture? The lecture was amazing. It was on his habits book, and it was really well done. But in this lecture, he talked about his upcoming personality test, and it's just come on the market in the last 3 weeks. So I will put a link to it in the bottom. So here's the quick and dirty on this personality test. One, it only costs $9.95. Okay, so go out and do it today. My thought is that he could probably charge a whole lot more, at least 3 to 6 times more than $9.95 in order to take this test. But right now it's only $9.95. So get it while you can and get it while it's inexpensive. The second thing I like about this test is that you can have your partner or a friend or maybe your mom or whoever you'd like take it, and then it will aggregate the data, which basically says, hey, you score this and your partner scores that. And here's what that means for how you guys will get along. This is excellent information, guys, and a great way to use for communication and to understand your partner better, understand your family better. I highly, highly recommend you guys run off and do this. Now, you might be asking, oh, I've taken personality tests before. I've taken all kinds of things. And so I kind of know myself or, whatever. So some of the more popular tests out there right now, I'll just kind of go into what those are. And hey, maybe you want to take those too if you haven't already. So one of the personality tests that's been around for a long time is called the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. You may be familiar with those, ENTJ. It's usually 4 letters that indicate a person's temperament. That's one of the personality tests that's out there that a lot of people use and that has been around for a long period of time. It's fairly, I would say that it's fairly accurate, but you can change over time as far as some of those letters. I have found, I took that Myers-Briggs type, at least 20 years ago, and I took it again fairly recently, and some of my scores definitely changed. And I think that has to do with a little age and perhaps maturity. So be prepared for some shifts there with time. Another profile that you may have taken, and this is given a lot for job performance and hiring you as an employee, and that is the DISC profile. DISC stands for dominance, influence, submissive, and compliance. Wow, those are really charged words that are used for that. And it is supposed to be a predictive measure for how you will do working in a specific environment, or they put certain DISC profiles with certain job titles. So if you fall into line, then predictably you will be well suited for that position, is the thought process behind that. And so DISC profile is another good one you can take. And then finally, my favorite, but not my favorite, is the love languages. Oh my goodness, how many people come into my office that are telling me what their love language is? I wish I had written this love language book, because apparently everyone has read it, because everyone seems to know their astrological sign and their love language, and they love to talk about those things in therapy. I like the love languages simply because it does, I guess, boil down some behaviors into supposed preferences. Here's my problem with it, though, because I do think that in relationships or potential relationships, everyone likes to get gifts. Everyone loves words of affirmation. I have yet to run into anybody who didn't like words of affirmation. Who doesn't like stuff being done for them, or acts of service? Who doesn't like that? Most people do. And then 2, physical touch, hugs, sex, all of the elements of physical touch when it comes to a relationship. The problem I have with love languages is that it is highly dependent on context. Meaning, if I first meet someone, or if I am in a new relationship, or just getting to know someone, I am very wary of physical touch very early on. It may not be appropriate. And to have someone put their arm around me, or touch me, or try to come in for a kiss on the cheek, or try to come in for that extra close hug, and if it's not the right context, or if I'm not feeling it, or it's too soon, then physical touch may be my love language all day long. But it depends on the context and depends on the person. So I may not be all that wild about it, to be honest with you. So love languages can be informative, I think, for established couples, folks who really know each other from the jump, or not from the jump, but folks who are together and have been together for quite a while. Then maybe that's a way to enhance your relationship by doing some of those things more frequently, if that is a preference for the other person. I see it as a way to score points. That can be a way to score points. But, quite frankly, if you love to have your hand held and the other person really doesn't care about that, is very aloof and doesn't want to touch you, then we have a disconnect there that is kind of hard to overcome. Because if they're not feeling it, and it feels very disingenuous, or it feels placated, or it feels protracted in terms of the actual behavior, then they're probably not going to hold your hand. So I would caution against putting too much stock in that love languages, as far as nailing down how you are in relationships. So let's talk more about Jordan Peterson's 5-factor analysis personality test, because this is so exciting to me. 5-factor analysis is what we really like to see, and we as in therapists, in terms of what people are like, how people are wired, and what is kind of driving behavior. So what are these 5 factors, you say? So the first one is agreeableness. And underneath the heading of agreeableness is compassion and politeness. Now, by agreeableness, it doesn't mean that if you score high in agreeableness, that you never get into arguments. Agreeableness really means that you are really invested, or if you score high in agreeableness, it means that you're really interested in everyone getting along, in everyone having harmony, in there not being a lot of discord in relationships or in groups of people or in your family, let's say. Compassion, as part of that, is what it says it is. Politeness, though, I want you to understand, is not whether you say please and thank you. Politeness, as it's tested here in this personality test, is more along the lines of, are you going along in order to get along? For instance, if you were one of those people who basically said, I will not comply when it came down to certain mandates or edicts that were recently put into place due to the pandemic, let's say, then if you were an I will not comply person, that would be me right here. I ended up scoring low on politeness, and that's part of it, because my mindset is I'm going to do kind of what I want and not necessarily go along with the group. So that politeness scale, just keep in mind that that's what they're really looking at. The second thing that's measured in this personality test by Dr. Jordan Peterson is conscientiousness. Now, conscientiousness has to do with your wanting to get the job done, get it done right, be thorough, be accurate. It's for those perfectionists out there, this is how to measure it, is on your conscientiousness. Now, that has to do with industriousness, which is getting things done, not wasting resources, not wasting time, not wasting money, and orderliness. There is a place for everything and everything in its place. So all you OCD folks are going to score off the charts when it comes to orderliness here. But orderliness and industriousness all factor into conscientiousness. The third thing that's measured in his personality test is extroversion. And that is just what it sounds. Are you an introvert or an extrovert? Are you more social or are you more reserved? With that comes enthusiasm and assertiveness. Now, with enthusiasm, that doesn't have to do with how happy or excited that you get when, let's say that you're at a baseball game. It has more to do with, are you kind of always encouraging people? Are you kind of a cheerleader type? I've been accused of that in the past. You can do this. You can totally do this. You want to do this? Absolutely. Let me tell you how great it'll be when you make this change. I have high enthusiasm and belief in the ability for people to change. And it's written all over my face in person, usually when you're with me. So big time enthusiast over here. Assertiveness, standing up for yourself. If you are going to take up for somebody or take up for yourself, or call out something when you don't agree with it, that's what assertiveness is. So it will measure that. Now, neuroticism. Saying that you're neurotic, that's always had a very negative connotation, right? Nobody wants to be accused of being neurotic. But all that neurotic means is that you worry a whole lot and that you get activated. You may, what I call pole vault over rat turds. You get really activated and upset over little things that may bother you, or they stick with you for days and days and you obsess over it, right? So with that comes a measurement of withdrawal, meaning, okay, are you just going to totally withdraw from conflict, walk away, leave, etc., or be volatile about it, pound your fist, maybe be a Will Smith and throw a punch. I don't know. But the measurement of neuroticism, and that's when we say, well, you're being totally neurotic about this right now, meaning that you're making a bigger deal out of something than it normally should be. So this is a way to measure that. In Jordan Peterson's personality test. So what I encourage you to do is absolutely sit down, make sure that you're not hungry, make sure that you're not too tired or too distracted or too stressed out. Okay, try and maybe a Saturday morning with a nice cup of coffee would be a great time to do this. Sit down and take this personality test for yourself. Then send it to your partner, have your partner take it also, and then it will give you your results. Two wonderful things about the results that you'll get is that it is normed data, which basically means you will be able to see how you fall and measure up as with other women and with other men. All right, so it basically will give you the results in a crowd of 100 people in the room. 9 people are more enthusiastic than you are, or in a crowd of 100 people in a room, 25 people are less enthusiastic than you are. So it will tell you where you measure up against, let's say, the average people. So that's really interesting stuff to know. The other thing I like about it too is that it will tell you, okay, let's say that your partner is high here, but you're low there. Here are some challenges that you might have in your relationship, and here are ways to navigate that. And it's not that your partner is being difficult, or it's not that your partner is being weird. It's just that this is how they're hardwired, and to better be able to negotiate and appreciate that with your partner, here's what you need to know. So wonderful, wonderful information from Dr. Jordan Peterson. He's done it again. He's going to be rolling out more and more new products that have to do with understanding yourself, understanding your personality, being able to write your future, put out goals for yourself. All of this stuff is coming from him in the near future, probably this year, in terms of products that he's created. So I'm clearly a fan, but this is really good work, and it's very thorough, and it's definitely what therapists love to see. If you happen to be going to therapy, do this test and take it with you to your next therapist appointment, and it'll be a great way to jump off on some topics and some really good in-depth discussion. So there you have it. Personality test, the latest and greatest one, only for $9.95. Not a better bargain on the market. Go out and get it. Thanks so much for joining today. This is Nicole Kaufman, the Right Therapist. Have a good one.